Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. Everyone, it's just a few of us here. That's okay. That's what happens when we do it every week.
I have 8 questions, so don't worry about the content.
That's awesome. Very good, Irina. Let me see. We'll get a few other people that will come in as well. Let me just check. Okay, so we might have 13. Yeah, we've got a couple of other ones. All right. So, okay. Well, Irina, yeah, I see. Your summer opens next Monday. Okay. Panic stations. Everyone, time to panic. No, you feeling all right?
Nope. Yeah,
good.
I feel great. I don't have any panic.
That's good. I like
just
that you
have
posted
questions.
I like that you posted the question. May I ask 8 questions, please? That's great. So absolutely, yeah. Take it away, share and let's dive into it.
Okay. A send request.
Yeah. It's all good. Okay, yeah, you can go for it now. Hello, Blue. Or should I say pink?
Oh, because of my summit. He's matching my summit almost.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Exactly.
Okay, first of all, I want to say it's such a gorgeous, Obvio thing. Oh my gosh, I enjoy it every minute working with it. I did it myself. Every single detail here, it's my own. And
Nice.
I'm just in awe of what you created, guys. I'm proud of it.
Nice.
And everybody who checked it, because my summit, it has 19 speakers. So we have 20 people in the summit, and they checked the dashboard, and everybody's very excited because it's so pretty. So I wanted to say that.
That's awesome.
Usually you get all the bugs and stuff, but now you get the compliment. So anyway, okay, now questions, and I will show you what I got here. So I got all of that, and it's a long list. I will be hiding it. So one of my but it's just gorgeous. Look at the graphics and all the speakers. I have to boast because it's your Obvio and I love it.
No, but yeah, but you're using it really well. There's lots of content, and yeah, that's great. And so you're hiding different sections of it for different days.
I will be hiding. Yep. And I also have the speakers. It's about me, and then sponsors will be also speakers, but our Mega Summit speakers. And so they're like this with the picture, they're all graphics done, and with the buttons, access website or free gift. There are people with free gift and descriptions and intro and all of that. So I love it.
Well done.
Okay. And there are many. Thank you. I was just fishing for a compliment. Yes, it's well done.
No. And you don't need to fish hard. That looks great. You've spent time making all the images the same, and yeah, it looks good. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's been 2 months in making. Okay, first question. 3 buttons here. I'm not using these buttons at all. I was just wondering, mine is classic template, so the old one. And if I delete, so obviously they're not entering here. So if I wanted to leave a button, let's say for hypothetically, and bring them to the sponsor page for my speakers, is there a possibility or not? Because I know on the side, I do have meet your host, meet your speakers. I do have it here. But if hypothetically for the duration of promotion, if I had this just meet speakers, for example, the button here, could I forward it? Because I didn't find, if I try to go to join area, I don't see meet sponsors. I only see my room.
Just right there, just below hit page, just where it says page.
Let me go to this one because I don't want, I'm not afraid to lose this one. Okay, where do I go?
Go back and then hit link. So link first.
Okay.
There we go. And then hit page. Click on page.
Page. Okay.
There we go.
So it's not choose area, it's link and page.
Yeah, link to a page. Yeah, that's right.
Okay, got it. So I still could do it here if I wanted to. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Okay. Next question, if I'm already here. No, I don't need to be here. Next question is the rules, Grant's favorite. Okay, let's go to the rules. I know it's your favorite. So the rules, so I'm going to do, I know it can be two ways, manual and automatic. I'm going to have 2 interviews released per one day. So I'm just confirming that I tried. I don't know if I did it right. Well, I'm sure I did it right. Okay, let's say we go to this blog post and we go to the button and we go to rules and then we add rule. And what I show here, I will do it from 12 a.m. to 12 a.m. So it's 24-hour period. It doesn't matter what time it is. So I just do show from this time, March 17 or March 24th to at 12 a.m., show until March 25th or March 18th, whatever that is, till 12 a.m., correct?
Yes. There's all, but with it's actually the same with the show from on a blog post. The publish date, if you go back to settings,
Okay.
so
Yeah, publish date.
So you were right. Yeah. So the
I know.
publish date on that first screen
Yeah,
is when it will first show. But you'll actually see that just it is correct, but the publish date will be the same as the show from date if it's
I don't think
in the future.
Yeah, I don't think you can change the show from on the rules
No.
tab in blog posts.
Right.
So
Yeah,
I think you have
just
to
publish.
I think you have to use the publish date and then you click to rules and you can use show until.
Oh, because I thought vice versa. I thought publish date you cannot change and then you have to go to rules. So it's the opposite. So I change it here and then I go to rules and then I do show until. Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Or I can do manually just to toggle enabled.
Yeah. Yeah.
And of course,
and
when go ahead.
I was just going to say the reason that we say that in the example that you're talking about where you want to go from midnight to midnight, great. Like that makes a lot of sense. And using the publish and show until is perfect for that. The only times that we're talking about toggling manually
The summit dates.
Yeah. Well, there's things that you might want to post during the day, and you don't want to be locking yourself into the clock, right? And so you're in a virtual event that can be that is not bound by time or space, and so that way you're like, oh, it just happened that we were 10 minutes later or 10 minutes earlier for when we wanted that to happen, and a team member knows that on this queue, that's when we want you to enable it on the dashboard. And remember that within a sort of minute, 90 seconds or so, everyone will have that on their dashboard. And so that's the reason that, you may want to use it manually enable and disable for things to appear and disappear on the dashboard.
Right.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Right. Okay. So I think that's good. That is good.
Good one. Keeping track. Is that just one question?
No, this was the second question out of 8.
Okay, good.
So we're moving forward.
Six to go for those counting, playing along at home.
The third one.
Like, what? 8 questions?
Yep. Where is it? It's not here. On the button. Okay. Well, I became officially an expert in making buttons because before, in 3 years of having Obvio, I was confused about buttons. After I made 60 buttons, 2 buttons each here, and then 1 button on sponsor page, I'm now
Yeah.
officially an expert in buttons. So thank you for
Wow.
the drill. Yeah.
Well done,
Now I
Irina.
understand hovering and opacity and all that stuff.
We should send you a button that you can wear. A button.
I am for sure. Yeah, I'm a button expert. Okay, so if I go to, let's say Nancy hand. The tags. I'm a little bit confused about the tags. So what exactly it's here and it's here? Because when I create new tag, what is the purpose of it? Is the purpose when somebody clicks on Nancy's free gift, they go where? What's this tag all about? Do I get it for my attendee that person clicked Nancy's tag and I know it? And if yes, that's the case.
Yeah, that's the purpose of it. Back in Active Campaign, that it will say that someone clicked the button, so it will then send back to Active Campaign to tag that person that they have clicked the button.
So where
Does
do
that
I
make sense?
create the new tag? In Active Campaign or here? I see that it's create new tag. So I can create only in Obvio, or I need to do it in Active Campaign and just type it here and it will appear.
Blue.
The create new tag button creates the tag in Active Campaign. You have to select an existing campaign with or an existing tag with Active Campaign. So you can do it either way, Irina. You can go into Active Campaign and create the tag and then come in here, type it in, and it'll appear. Or you can create the tag in Active Campaign using the create new tag button, which will create the tag in Active Campaign. And then you type it in and you can select it.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, that's what I was doing. And so, but what's the purpose of it? So I know that somebody clicked on that.
So these are only this particular tag is applied on button click. So the purpose is so that you know who clicked on the button. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So then to search for it, I just go to Active Campaign, get the tag out. I mean, find the tag, and it gives me the list of people who clicked on this button.
Without knowing the full ins and outs of Active Campaign, the short answer to your question is yes, that's correct.
Okay.
You go into Active Campaign and you look up contacts who have that tag, and it'll tell you who that tag was applied to from Obvio as a result of the button click.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
And remember too that, like with all data, it's also about the inverse, as in who didn't click this button, and that can be very handy because you can know, particularly with a PDF resource or something, you will know that if they are not tagged, they didn't access this, and so you could target an email to go out to people that did not get the PDF or did not click something or did not, whatever it is, and say, hey, we noticed that you may not have accessed this PDF. Here's the link for it, so that the both of those groups can be very powerful.
Yes, that's great. I didn't think about it. Perfect. Okay. So we go here now. Now for my event, I'm advertising this, promoting my event here and the button here. So I already have, so let's say it's event tag. And for example, and so I just, because it's already an Active Campaign, I guess I'm repeating what Blue said already. So I'll just already have it. So I type it here. However, when I tried to do that, several times I got an error saying the button already exists. When I tried, I thought it was here. I just type, okay, event. And then it told me,
scroll down,
or whatever I was typing.
Scroll down,
Go down a little bit.
Yeah, scroll down.
Yeah.
There, now you click that attended event. No, okay.
Yeah, I know.
So now click that attended event. And that's now the tag that gets applied. It's a little confusing.
Ah, that's why I didn't save. Because I needed to click and I didn't even see that part. Okay.
Yep.
So
and then click
I'm,
save. Yeah.
because it's finding a tag in the active campaign. It's not just typing it, it's finding it.
You got it.
Got it.
Yeah.
And talking about tags, is it capital letters sensitive? Or let's say I did it in active campaign in capital letters, and here I'm typing on lowercase. Will it be a difference or not?
It depends on the application on that you're connected to. And I don't remember for active campaigns specifically. But the easy way to find out is if you search with all caps and it doesn't show up, try without that.
Right.
Yeah.
And what about the Obvio?
It's not based on us. Obvio doesn't rely on case sensitivity for tags, but active campaign may. I don't know if it does or not, to be perfectly honest.
But Obvio doesn't. Okay.
It's one of the reasons that you're not just typing it, but you're actually selecting it. And so because it's also tying it to an ID within active campaign, not just the words itself, you know,
that,
the letters
that makes
themselves.
sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. Okay. Next one is, let's check my integration. So integration is my favorite topic because I asked about it 700 million times. Blue already has a nightmare about it.
Attendees.
Well, listen, we're waiting for one or two more, and then you're going to become an expert, just like you are with buttons.
I know, right? Oh, it takes 60 times.
60 integrations.
60 buttons, 20 buttons. Okay, so I got this active. I know it's correct because it's working. My question is actually different. So, okay, I put summit. I know it's working. This one's, if my summit is free, and I don't need create a checked in and waiver. Do I even need to put it there because it clutters my active campaign tags, or I still need it for whatever reason?
You don't need it for Obvio. Yeah, you don't need it for Obvio, Irina. So you probably don't need created and waiver, and you technically don't need checked in either. But if I was you, I would still use the checked in tag, because the checked in tag, you probably have tech check turned off. So what the checked in tag will do is when somebody lands on the dashboard for the first time, they'll get the checked in tag applied. So it gives you some information in active campaign as to who of the people who have opted into your summit have actually landed on the dashboard.
Oh, yeah, that's important. Yeah. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, I don't need
but waiver and created are not needed.
And when I do my next is masterclass and then the event, when I integrate my Obvio with those, I will need, again, so I type it again, like I'm looking for it. Am I creating new tag, or I am for the new event?
You should have new tags for each of, I mean, this is personal preference, okay? I will tell you what I think is best practices is to have a different set of tags for each event.
Like I did here, right? Summit created. Summit.
Sure. I mean, I would have called it Summit, 0325 or something like that, right? Yeah. In case you do 2 summits in a year, or in case you ever do another summit, but whatever, like it doesn't matter. Like, so when we do, so I'll tell you in active campaign and Keep are different, but the same, right? We have a tagging system inside of Keep. So for inside of Keep for TVE, I have all of my attendee tags are TVE, the number, and then dash attendee. All of my created tags are TVE, the number, dash created. All my checked in tags are TVE, the number, dash attended. So the next time for TVE 10, we'll do TVE 10 dash attendee, TVE 10 dash, like all the way through. So that gives me the ability to look backwards and say who attended TVE 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Whereas if I just reused the tags, my data would be useless.
Right, exactly. And you create it in Keep?
I create them in Keep. You have the ability to create them from Obvio, but for me, that's just there for convenience. For me, the interface to create them inside of Keep is just better for me.
But that's personal
preference.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you create them. It really doesn't matter.
Because again, it's the same principle. If I start typing here, it will come up because it will be inactive if I have it in active campaign. Then I do it here, then I click, I find the tag, I click, and it populates. And if I don't have it in active campaign, I will create new tag, click here, and then I will type the same thing, right?
Yes, all the way around.
Got it. Okay, we're moving along. Okay, broadcast. So I scheduled a lot of stuff here. My question was, it's all scheduled. No, it's not in this one. I'm communicating with my speakers through podcast. The one I have another Obvio platform for podcast. And they had total send 21 and total open 31, 148%. What does it mean?
It means nothing. Ignore the statistics. They're completely useless. We're working on fixing them.
Okay.
That is the answer.
Got it.
I thought we
they're
just
useless.
they're useless. Just made a change overnight.
We have, yeah, and I think they're live, but they also haven't been tested. And
I tested it for you.
Well, and
I think
it won't past broadcasts won't be properly affected. Like it's only a broadcast in the future that'll be.
Because I sent it a few days ago or a couple of days ago, something like that.
Too early.
Okay.
All right, hold on one second. Grant, are there other people who have questions? And Irina, you can hang out. Stay
I have
around.
one question left.
Just one. Is it a fast one?
Yes, about SMS.
All right, go for it.
There's only one question. There's only one question that people have posted. So.
Okay, well then keep asking.
Okay, then I'll ask two. One is easy.
What?
Okay, this one. I negotiated. Okay, I send SMS to my speakers. And one person responded back. So she tried to respond back to my SMS. I didn't get it. I didn't expect to get it, but apparently there is no response or no reply. Maybe, I don't know. So she sends me a text message with a screenshot on it. And she said, it's weird because when I responded back to you, I got the words default help message. I'm just telling you that's what happens. I don't care that much, but she was saying it's weird.
Yeah, okay. I can look at that, but yes, it's not it's not designed to be a two-way system.
Right.
Clearly, because there's nowhere for you to find those messages.
Right, and I don't want to. But how do you prevent that?
Well, we don't, but we don't. There's something sitting in the system that's sending something back, which would be more like this is a no reply text message. This is not. Okay. This has not been received by anyone.
Yes. Oh, I see what I mean. Default help message, meaning it's no reply. Okay.
Yeah. So, but we can look into that.
And the last one, it's a very easy one. It's for Grant. You in Australia. So I have a person from New Zealand in Australia too. So when I tell them the summit, we start promotion to March 17, you in the future. So for you, if you are to promote the summit, that means you would have to so you promote the summit on Tuesday when everybody in the United States promote it on Monday, correct?
Well, yes.
I'm just making sure because I'm in US and I don't remember about Russia, so I don't care about future anymore.
So tell me, Irina, have you got your agenda? Is there a basic agenda on your dashboard?
Yes, it says March 17 or March 24th. Promotion starts on March 17th. So
can you show me your dashboard again with the agenda?
okay. Agenda says March 24th. It's when we open the interviews, but I will open dashboard to meet the speakers on March 17th. So my promotion will be on Monday, next Monday. So it says March 24th at 12 a.m.
Yeah, okay.
But the dashboard will be open on March 17th.
Yeah. So let me show you what that looks like for me.
Yeah, it's in your time. I know it's in your time, but I'm talking about speakers who promote the summit. When do they start to promote so people would get on the same day with US?
Well, remember that it's not the time zone is not, we're not 24 hours ahead of you.
Right.
And
true.
Right. And so in this instance, because you're saying it's from midnight, it is actually the same day. That's what I wanted to show to you.
Oh,
is
okay.
that I'm just creating, you can delete this later, but I'm just creating a new attendee just so I can show you what that looks like. Because what you'll find is that it's like 10 a.m. It'll be like, well, I don't know what it is, 8 a.m. or something like that. Let's have a look. And so I wouldn't get too concerned about that, the day being different, because we're talking about a matter of hours. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's saying 5:30 p.m. on March 24th. And for New Zealand, they're ahead of us as well. And so they will have, so it'll be a bit later for them. So
basically, I will have it ready on Sunday, right? I should have it ready on Sunday and not worry about that anybody will whatever, because it's just the dashboard.
And that's another question, right? Is what are you trying to hold back? And is it?
I will be hiding. I will be hiding interviews.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm showing them to my speakers so they can be excited. They like it. They checked it. They're motivated to promote. But then I'm closing it, and I said I will close them by the end of Saturday. So on Sunday it will be all ready. I guess that's the way to handle it, right?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, you've got a particularly interesting use case. When you're doing it based on days like that, you could be saying that New Zealand is one of the first sort of in the world. Is it because it's particularly the largest population that's in the time zone that kicks off first, right? Whenever we do New Year's Eve, it's New Zealand that are kind of doing that first, and then you start seeing it go around. Now there's some smaller time zones, but New Zealand would be your key one. If you really wanted to be super clear, you could say that it will finish on Sunday, and you make that to be the New Zealand time. This is the way my head works, because anywhere that it is Sunday, it'll still be available. As soon as it goes Monday anywhere, it will have stopped. As in, so, but I think that's kind of overcomplicating it all. The reality is that you sort of teach everyone that there is an event time, an event time zone. And you Americans all know that the world revolves around America.
Absolutely.
And so
that's why I came to America from Russia, because that's the case.
That's right, exactly. Every other country generally knows how to calculate the time difference to America. America is very bad at calculating the time difference to anywhere else in the world. But the rest of the world is quite accustomed to it.
Because we don't have to.
Yeah, that's
right.
That's right.
That's true.
It's the center of the universe.
That's right.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think you
not only that, you're actually giving all Americans a little bit. Well, I don't know. It's really the East Coast that's the problem, right? Because even people in the East Coast have no idea what time it is in LA, but people in LA know exactly what time it is in New York. Yeah. Oh, it totally is. Yeah. The East Coasters are just atrocious at time zones.
I work with a lot of East Coast, and I'm the one who calculates the time, and I'm in Arizona, so I already got used to it. Eastern Standard. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So the last time zone in the world is kind of what you would look at if you were wanting to do this super carefully and doing the calculation, so that anywhere in the world that it was still Sunday, it would be showing. And as soon as they turn into Monday is when you would turn it off. But
thank you for
the
geography lesson. That was good.
Yeah, there you go. The thing that I'd challenge you about is just, would it matter too much if the next day it was still available, and then by the time the day after that comes, it's hidden? Would that be okay? Right. So then so you're telling everyone it's going to stop on the Sunday, but actually on the Monday, it's still there for half the day or something. Maybe that's not as big a deal, and it's better that people are able to see it. They're the sorts of things I question, right. So
imagine that. I'm done with my questions. Thank you so much.
Wow. Well, that's all we have time for today. Sorry, everyone. We could only do Irina's questions. No, not true. I think we have Onric complaining about being charged. He's not complaining. Just a question, right? Tell us about your event. So you've got a recurring event. Not complaining. No, you're not.
No, I'm not complaining at all. I just wanted to understand it, how and when it triggers, because I have basically an open-ended event that I use as a cafe, where people are just kind of dropping in. So even though it's got 4,000 attendees that are linked, there's never more than 25 showing up at a time. So then suddenly popped up this thing like, hey, you've run out of blocks, you need to buy blocks, and it wouldn't actually let me host the meeting or anything like that. So I'm like, I better quickly understand how and when it needs these blocks so that I don't get caught.
It's as simple as a checked-in attendee. So unique, checked-in attendees, meaning that they've been to the dashboard once in the life of your event, is now counted as an attendee. So what's happened is you've gone over 500 unique attendees that have checked in, and so now it's saying that you need an extra block. Now, the way to manage that, of course, is that you can reset your attendees, right? So you can clear all attendees on that event and start again, and now you're okay. The reason that we have that there, obviously, is because for larger events, there's more that's going on. There's more resources that are required to handle an event that has, thousands of people in it. So once you go over 500 checked in attendees, then that's how it calculates it.
Gotcha.
So you may just want to rework the way that you get attendees into it.
Yeah, no, because I thought like, oh, I don't even have any check-in requirements for them. How come it's triggering that? But I thought as much. I just wanted to get clarification. So seeing as I'm now unmuted, I could pull an Irina here. I have 12 other questions.
Hold on one second. Hold on one second. I want to actually just give a little bit of a little additional color on that. So it's actually not checked in attendees. It's what we actually called active participants. And an active participant is anybody who interacts in any way, shape, or form with the dashboard. So if they create a password, if they sign a waiver, if they load the dashboard one time, if they get checked in, any of those things will trigger them as being counted as an active participant inside the event. If they never log in, they don't get counted. So so it's not just them checking in. Even if you have password turned off, waiver turned off, and tech check turned off, if they load the dashboard one time, they're now an active participant in the event for the duration of the event.
Okay. Perfect. Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
Yep. All right. What was your Irina question?
No. I was just taking the piss.
Oh, come on.
No, I'm like up to my eyeballs here in automation and stuff like that. I'm trying to. I did notice one thing a while ago. Suddenly, the sync button on Go High Level turned off, and then it suddenly said manually import attendees, and now it's back to sync. Is that a normal thing, or was that just a kind of a fluke?
We are working on a new version of the Go High Level integration, and it was published prematurely. So a fluke, yes, kind of. But essentially, right now, the Go High Level integration syncs every 10 minutes, right? And it is a pull from Obvio reaching out to Go High Level every 10 minutes saying, hey, any new attendees? Hey, any new attendees? And we're turning it so that anytime there's a new attendee or a change, Go High Level tells us rather than the other way around, which will speed up the sync process because we'll get that information faster than 10 minutes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's actually a really awesome upgrade. A lot of the other integrations already use that process, but we were waiting on something inside of the Go High Level API in order to be able to use that on our end as well.
I do have a little security question from one of my clients as to who can all see the Zoom recordings and download the attendee data. But I'm happy to take that question offline at any point from that. You know, I couldn't answer that as to who can all.
Yeah, there are, I don't know, 6 or 7 people on the Obvio team that technically can see the recordings and see attendee data, but you have the capability to delete it. And, you know, we don't really look at it. The data lives there on it anyway. Yeah. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. No, I just got to get back to them because they're extremely security conscious, and they wanted to know who can actually download their attendees, you know, once they're registered, and who can see the Zoom recordings. And I'm like, I don't know. I'll get back to you. So that was really the question.
Yeah. I would say that if they're super security conscious, that they wouldn't record on Zoom.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, and they're not, and then that directed the next thing to like, okay, so what about the attendees? Who can export those and who can see them? And I'm like, I think I can.
Yeah.
So as an administrator,
and
I think you guys can too, right?
From a support point of view, we can, right? So because we need to support you, and so that's the reason. But as Blue said, the moment that your event's finished, you could clear attendees or you could delete your event or all of that, and that will actually delete all of them, and we won't have any access to that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Yep. Yeah, and much like pretty much every other CRM company on the planet, and we have some internal policies as to who has access to that information and what they need to do in order to use it.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it's me, it's Grant, and
it's not everyone.
No, it's not even our whole development team.
Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
And I'd just say as well, we do the bare minimum of capturing data, which is first name, last name, and email. We're purposely not capturing. Now, you could choose to add a bunch of extra groups and data fields, but the bare minimum for us is just what is required to be able to make it work. And so it's not, address details or, those sorts of things. So.
No, I'd love at some time when there is a moment for you to show me how to use the groups in Obvio, because I'd like to be able to see all my VIPs in a different, on the attendee form and so on and tag them, but it doesn't have to happen today because it's not urgent.
So correct me if I'm wrong, those of you who use Go High Level, but I feel as though with Go High Level, you want to use tags, not groups, to identify VIPs versus non-VIPs.
Yes, and that is what I do, but on the Obvio dashboard, I mean, on the Obvio backend where you can see your attendees, it would be nice to be able to see, okay, who here is VIP and who is not.
So you just want to filter.
Yeah, and I think you can do that by group.
Well, you filter it by tag. So what you would do is you would go into Grant. You want to show them the filter on the attendee page?
Yeah. I do. I'm just extra cautious now of showing email addresses because we got YouTube took it down. Let's see if I can do it this way.
No, but I can do it under filters, add filters, and then I just manually. I want.
Just add a tag.
No, I thought there was a way that you could do it with groups where you could see the groups separately or something like that, and I just wasn't understanding how it works.
Well, yeah, sure, and that's the difference between a group and a tag. If we were to say that the group is favorite color, and then people have added their favorite color, well, now you could say just we can see the group in the attendee, and then we can see all the you could see the different colors, right, in that one column. So that's the difference, is that it's multi-dimensional, is the way that the groups work. And so but it does, when you start using integrations, often we're finding that tags become more useful in the way that it works across the different integrations. So, but there's just a couple of places where groups can be helpful in different ways. I've said this before, if you import your registration data and you sorry, I've just got an event that's just doing a test at the moment. Yeah, so if you were to import, there's one thing I've done before is state and country for every one of the attendees. And so then I was able to add that as a label to the end of their name in Zoom. So now when I'm looking at all the attendees, I can see where they're from. Simple, right? As long as I have the data and I have got that stored in as a group, that one tag or one group field, custom field, is put at the end of the label, and now it all just flows and works great. If you were to try to do that with tags, you would be creating a million different formulas to say that if state equal, if tag equals California, then label equals this. Sort of, it would be pretty nuts. So that's where groups come in. Quite.
I was thinking of splitting my audience into like Trumpers and never Trumpers. Yeah, and just so that everybody knows who we're talking about and how to answer a question. Yeah, I mean, right. like stir the pot. Yeah, I mean,
and just have two different Zoom meetings. Two different
That's
Zoom
actually
meetings.
why we have emojis, right? You can use like a blue square for your never Trumpers and a red square for your Trumpers, right? I mean, couldn't we just do it that way?
Oh God, Blue, you'd love this. I created like the middle finger as an emoji, and through the whole event, that was the only emoji that was used on the whole, until I'm like, you know what, I have to delete this. So anyway, so we learn. Making everybody great again. How about that?
Is that mega instead of MAGA? Is that what that is?
That's it. Yeah, I have the mega podcast where my dogs show up with like mega hats on, and because they red, everybody freaks out and thinks that says MAGA. But I'm like, no, it's making everybody great again, and it's turned out to be a really good room filler. But yeah, some of the crazy never Trumpers just literally lose their shit and block me, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Making eggs cheap again. Oh, Amy, that is hilarious. Mecca, making eggs cheap again. That's too funny. All right, I started something here. I should just mute myself right now.
All right, let's move on. We have a question. Tamara, nice to see you. Asking about certificates.
I think I've done something wrong. I can't tell if I've done it right or not. How do I check? Okay. So I figured out how to upload certificate, but I don't know if it's adding their name on it or not, and I cannot figure out how to check.
Okay. Do you want to share? Do you want to share your screen? Yep.
Hold on. I just need to get to. I'm doing 4 dashboards at the same time right now.
So wow! Look at you.
Which one that I'm in? This is my fun little group who are oddly so excited about the idea of certificates because writers need their they need to be reinforced. All right, hold on.
Yeah, fair enough.
This is my writing retreat that happens every month where writers from all over the world come in and write together. And I was like, you know who could really use the certificate feature? And turns out they can. All right, let me see. Okay, so I have 3 different certificates, and what I've done is I've tagged them so that after because I'm using the same event for every month, just to make it easier on my community. And I go in and I tag them for, who can, who has been there during that block of time. So I do that afterwards. So I have my little certificate and I think I've done it correctly. But then when I went to test it on my own, it didn't have the name. It just had the certificate itself. So I think I'm doing something wrong. I think I did it on all of these. Let's see. I maybe.
Okay. And so you were testing back from the dashboard. You've got a link on the dashboard.
Yeah, I have a dummy account. So I was like, hey, why don't I send it to this person? And I can't tell if I'm not seeing it because I have so many freaking accounts in Obvio.
Okay.
Yes, I've lived here a long time. So I'm assuming I'm doing it correctly. I've uploaded a thing And when it comes up, let me see. How do I do this? Let me get myself. Oh, we're not allowed to show that, right? Oops. Sure. Hold on. I will unshare. Let me see if I can find the version. This one will work.
Is it the Film Lab? Which event is it?
Oh, it's in the second Saturday, or Guild of Unwritten Words, and it's the very first one. It's the writers second Saturday. I don't know if that helped you. It's, yeah, second Saturday, 2025. And
So just while we're finding all of that, for people that were like, certificates, what's this? I didn't know there was certificates. How does that work? The concept of it is just being able to send an attendance certificate, depending on how what you're running, your different course or things like that. You can send a certificate, and you can set up as to what the requirement is for people, and then you create a button on the dashboard, and now they can
my
download their
January one's
certificate.
working fine.
So
My January one's working fine. Interesting.
okay.
Maybe I solved my own problem. I don't know. I feel like something's going awry. Maybe it's just how I design the certificates in the other. All right, I'll play around with it. I think I know how to do it. People loved them. They thought it was the coolest thing ever. So, you know, kudos to Obvio, my friends.
Hey, Grant,
Mm.
there may be a spacing bug with it. So, you said the January one's working fine, Tamara. I just did a. Here, let me
The February
share
and March were not working. And the January one is the one that I have on the front page of that I had tagged, and I just put it in my other one, and that one's fine. But it's the other ones that were not
So
working.
I just downloaded it from your account, and it doesn't appear to be working.
Okay, well then I lied.
Hold on one second. If you see this down here, and you copy that text, it actually
no, you're
is.
correct.
Yeah, it actually is there. So Grant, we may need to pass this up the chain to the dev team. I remember there being a spacing issue.
You know what? Then that is you are exactly right, because the ones that have downloaded, they've had like a little tiny bit of blue like off to the side, and I'm like, why is there a weird blue line there? And so I do think that it's doing something wiggy.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can recreate it. I was playing with it, and I was just like, I don't know what to. Like, this is craziness.
Yeah, I think that's probably a bug on our end. Can you?
Yeah, because they're right in the thing.
Just describing it.
Isn't there a download? Isn't there a demo download?
Download all.
There isn't a demo, is there? No, I see that. Okay. Is that button?
That would make more sense then, because.
Oh, center. Huh. Fun. It's like,
oh,
huh. Look at that.
We're all learning something.
Well, looky there.
see if I can find one that I'd say. Oh.
Yeah, so this feels like a bug that we need to work out.
Most excellent. It's not me. I love that. Sorry to point out the problems.
Cool. Justin's gonna get the dev team onto it. Now you said, Blue, I just take exception. You said that we would send it up to the dev team. I mean, are the dev team are higher than us from a hierarchy point of view?
In certain cases, I feel like that is probably accurate. Not in all, clearly.
You're probably
but
you're probably right. Probably right.
I can't fix it. Can you?
Nope. That's true.
Feels
Let's
like
send it up to them.
This one is up.
Very good. Anything else, Tamara?
No, that's it. Thank you guys so much.
No worries. Looks cool. Nice work on that. Okay. I think we may have check here. Another question. Melanie, the process of really setting up my Florida studio with TV, Sony camera, Mel to camera with table, 2 cell pods, food, table views. Again, can you please share the pros and cons, your recommendations on A10 Mini, the Rodecaster, and using online software? Oh, there you go. Well, it's going to be the one that you're most comfortable with. You're not comfortable with any of it.
Not yet.
Yeah. So I think pros and cons, and actually Tamara would be able to talk in depth about software switching, for example, and being able to do all that. So my preference is hardware, although it depends on the size of the event sometimes too, because then we might move into software. But for actually switching the multiple cameras, physical cameras, plugging them directly into to either an ATEM or a Rodecaster video. I remember we were talking about you being able to go outside and things as well. Is that right?
Yeah, I'll be going outside, but we're really building a set right here in my house right now, in addition to outside. So for the 3-day lives and the challenges, I'll definitely be inside. And Katie Horner's husband's helping me, and Muddy's helped me a little bit yesterday, but I want to make sure I buy the right thing for now in the long term. I know I've asked this 100 times, but I'm really making the decision now.
Yeah, I get it, because there's multiple ways of doing it, and ideally, of course, you're not doing it yourself. Or how much would you be doing? Would you have team that would be on site?
I'll have team helping me when
Yeah.
I do a challenge and a 3-day live, but then when I do it myself, I'll be doing it myself. But for the big events, I'll have.
Yeah. Okay. So you need to be able to do it yourself as well.
Yeah.
Muddy, did you want to share some observations?
Sure, I'm happy to. We had a chance to talk, and there's essentially a front Sony camera as the A camera, and then there'll be a behind the scenes camera, which will be an iPhone, kind of over the shoulder shot. So not necessarily behind the scenes, but an over the shoulder shot, and then a top down shot off a C-stand from another iPhone. So we talked through different options, and of course, mixing iPhones one of the challenges when you consider between a software switcher and different hardware switchers is the inputs that they accept. And the ATEM switchers accept an HDMI input. The Rodecaster Video accepts HDMI and a USB, like a webcam style input. And then a software switcher will accept essentially whatever you can get into your computer. So if we were to do the iPhones and the Sony camera, they'd all need to be on capture cards essentially to get into the computer. My recommendation was that's probably a lot for a computer to have 3 cameras coming into it, because it's a software switcher would be trying to process all those images all the time. So you can cut right to it and it'll be ready. So my recommendation was to consider a hardware switcher to offload that processing. And then it's just one connection to the computer. That's one webcam, if you will, from the switcher. And then when we talk through the different ways to connect the iPhones into either one of the hardware switchers, my ultimate recommendation was an HDMI dongle. So one of the iPhones is Lightning, one of them is USB-C, but either one you can use a Lightning or USB-C to HDMI dongle, a long HDMI cable, and then that HDMI will go directly into the switcher. And one of the other things that Melanie wanted when we talked was to be able to have a super source, to be able to have kind of the side-by-side view that she could cut to with her and her slides, or her and one of the other shots. So ultimately, an ATEM Mini Extreme was where we kind of left as probably the best recommendation. But the things we were trying to design for were the mix of Sony cameras plus iPhones.
And audio?
Wireless mic.
Yeah. I think that all makes sense. I would question the iPhone usage in that, and only because of it being fiddly to set up, that it's hacking the phone to be able to use it as a camera, as a live camera. Was there anything specifically about the iPhone, or is it just that it's what you have? So
no, we had talked on one of the calls. I can't remember who or when or what, but we said I probably don't want to spend money on another Sony camera, and it would be best to buy another iPhone. So I just bought another iPhone, and they happen to have the different connections. So just like 2 weeks ago, now I have 2 iPhones for this purpose.
Fair enough.
I really don't know tech, you guys, as you can tell.
No, you're
but
doing
I will
great.
get it. But I will get it. And Buddy, last night we were on the phone, and the HDMI and the C and the this and the that. I'm going, I need to hear it again. I'm actually recording this time.
So
but I want to get it done. And then the other thing, Katie's husband does not use the hardware. He uses the software. So that was the other thing. And they're going to be the people that'll be helping me.
Right.
But I have to make it right for me too. And they know that.
I think that someone who can use software will also be able to use hardware.
I'm sure. I'm sure. I just want to make sure that when I'm in the midst of buying the equipment now to get it set up while they're here to help me set it up.
100%. No, and I didn't mean that to be
oh no, don't it's okay.
cheeky.
No, I get it.
All I mean is I actually think it's harder to go the other way. I think it's harder to go from switching on hardware to understanding how the software works and doing it all that way. And so someone who understands software will get the concept of switching on hardware. And I think for you, the hardware makes the most sense.
Look at poor Blue. He's had this conversation with me so many times.
So let me just say though, quick.
I'm trying to take a little responsibility here and thinking to myself, did I really recommend that you buy another iPhone for a live camera? But
I'll use it also. It's not just for the live. Like I'll use it for other things, of course. And I do
so
lives. Yeah, it's not. I didn't buy it only for this.
For recording. No. I think there's zero chance I recommended an iPhone for live video. Just for the record, Buddy. I just want to say that out
Okay, that's good, Blue.
Not that it matters much because you've got it
It's
now.
okay.
So
I
now
got a
it's
good.
like,
I
how
got
do
a
we
good
make it
deal. It's
work?
okay.
But yeah, are there any apps that output?
Yeah, there are, but it's there are, and but that's what I mean by the setup of it. Because anyway, you've got them, you can make it work. The thing that the direction I was going down is a cheap camcorder that has HDMI out. And then when I say cheap, I'm talking like less than $200. And it's got a zoom on it, right? And all it does is it has a mini HDMI and it just outputs the whole time. And those cameras, they just stay on. They won't turn off. They won't have notifications. They won't, and they have a normal mount on them. That's the type of thing that I was thinking of. So because you just want it simple and easy for you to be able to use, and I can imagine that's why I lean towards hardware, is the idea that you can have the ATEM sitting on the desk and you can just smash the button that you want to change to the camera and away it goes, right? And then you do a bigger event, maybe you can push that off to the side a little bit and someone else is now sitting there and controlling it. And that sounds very reasonable for you to be able to do little things. It's very basically the setups that Muddy, Blue, and I have right now is a way of being able to switch multiple cameras but do it ourselves, and so that we can do meetings, because you don't want to set up this whole great studio and then not be able to use it day to day. So exactly. I totally get that.
That's exactly. I mean, I'm building it in a whole room here. Yeah.
And so that makes a lot of sense, and that's why I lean towards dedicated hardware that just does that task, and you don't have to open a bunch of apps and do things. But Tamara, you would have, and jump in, because I'm interested, because you do a bunch with Ecamm and stuff, right?
I've done both. So I have my setup here. I have one computer that's ATEM and is all hardware because that's where I started. And then I also do one computer has OBS and one computer has Ecamm. So I kind of play around with all different things. When I'm using Ecamm and OBS, I'm using my little, all of my little stream decks. So it sounds like you're putting in a set system, like you're building a set. I would build it with hardware. I wouldn't build it with software. The value of software is obviously that you can make everything look beautiful and and have pretty graphics and things like that. You can still do that with hardware, but there's a lot more layers to that. So if that's what you're thinking, is you're like, hey, I want it to kind of look like like a YouTube show, then you might lean towards an Ecamm, or lean towards something that is that will let you do that. You can still use your ATEM into Ecamm, but again, I put everything on. I have 4 little Mac Minis that are floating on my desk now because I just put everything on one system. So that's the other thing, is to really think about having dedicated hardware. And this may be something that, like, where you start now and where you grow to, you've got very expensive friends. I started my system back from TVE1 and kind of did a bad version of what Blue kind of recommended. I mean, I was like doing stupid dashboards on like Google Docs just to like make it similar. So I started kind of, if I were to start now, then in 2020, we started in 2020 with what was available. Now there's so many different options. So, but I think ultimately hardware is easier to rely on. I have a Rode Streamer X, and I'm curious about if the Rode, the newer Rode is better, because I have some serious Streamer X anxiety. They have some serious cabling issues. So I would be more likely to buy an ATEM that at a cheaper price. I would buy an ATEM Mini at a cheaper price than I would trusting that until I see how it lands on the long term, because the long term of the Streamer X hasn't been great video wise and audio together. So yeah, I mean, I think you're going in the right direction. And again, I've used mine with my ATEM with iPads, and I've used them with iPhones. You know, it takes a bit to kind of set it up, and you know, you want to make sure that you're using some kind of you're turning all your notifications off, turning really you're taking your iPhone and making it into nothing but a camera, because otherwise you're going to really find that there's a lot of things that can pop up in the middle of your events.
Airplane mode. I wonder if that
Airplane
works.
mode.
Yeah, that's your friend. Thank you, Tamara. Great perspective, and I think it can totally work that way. I think what's really important for everyone to remember with this. I was only thinking about this the other day as I was watching Joe Rogan's podcast. Is the production level on that is so basic, like so basic, and yet it's the biggest podcast in the world. Millions and millions of people, you know, watching it multiple times a week. What does that say? It says that the content is always way more important than the production value. They've got really good quality audio. They've got great quality audio, and they have you can see them well on a couple of cameras. They switch to the people. It's all just very basic. No overlay graphics. The only thing that happens sometimes is they play a video and they, you know, do a little picture-in-picture, which is so basic. And so I think it's important because I don't think putting extra effort into more production, you know, eye candy moves the needle that much with what you're doing. But the things for you, Melanie, that makes a big difference is different angles, you know, to show people what you're doing. That's really key. That's really functional. And so I think that you're asking all the right questions, as in how do I get these cameras to work easily, and how do I switch them easily? I don't necessarily need to do, you know, any extra things or, you know, extra text on the screen or whatever it is. I just want to have people be able to see me well.
The other thing I would just pop in with one more thing. I've been doing, I'm doing TD for the Sunday show for office hours, and we use Zoom production studios. So if you got to a point where you're like, I really want to do some more graphic stuff, you could use a Zoom production studio session and attach that to Obvio as your button, as opposed to using the Zoom that's in Obvio. So there's a lot of ways to grow. If you start now with really just getting the best sound and video quality that you can, you'll never regret getting an ATEM, because that can be used with Ecamm. It can be used in anything, whereas the other ways you can't use those universally. So that just gives you a place. There's so many different ways to be able to switch very seamlessly now, and to make it so that you can have as much production value as you want. But really, your main thing is exactly what you're doing. It's like, how do I get video in that looks really solid? How do I get audio in that looks really solid? And how can I control it? And from there, you can grow into any different direction.
That's great advice. Muddy?
Yeah, one thing that I put in the chat that I think is worth mentioning, particularly for Melanie's case, one of the distinctions between the Rodecaster video device and the ATEM Mini Extreme, the ATEM Mini Extreme can do a super source where you have two different video sources that kind of combine. But you can't have, what the Rodecaster has is multiple scenes that you can pre-program. So theoretically, you can have different super source looks on buttons. And so if you wanted it 50% side by side versus 1/3 and 2/3, you can have those ready to go and programmed on buttons on the Rodecaster video. So it's a little bit more versatile that way. The other thing I would say is, because the Rodecaster video can accept a USB webcam, it probably gives you more flexibility for your studio overall. If you wanted a simple approach, a decent webcam on a USB extension cord would mount and always be ready to go. You don't have to turn it on. You don't have to worry about settings. You don't have to do anything. And it's $100. It's not $700. And so, with those, I think I probably lean towards that. And finally, just to affirm or reaffirm what Grant said, is a camcorder. And I've got one, I can give you some recommendations, but a camcorder is designed to be plugged into the wall and have an HDMI, a clean HDMI signal. Like it loves to do that all day long. So you could leave it turned on and running 24 hours and just unplug and plug your computer in when you're ready to go. And that would be way easier than having to deal with all the notifications and apps and everything on an iPhone. So.
I thought the
but I just hope this is a little bit useful
Okay.
for everybody, because there's so many decisions to make, I'm feeling like, and I want to get it set up.
Yeah. And do you know what? I think you're narrowing in to a selection of things,
Yeah.
and the chances are that wherever you go in there, you'll be okay. And that at some point with all of this, you can stop stressing about making the right decision and just make the decision right. Because really, once you make that, and now it's like, okay, I've got the ATEM or I've got the Rodecaster video. I think Blue will be able to make a good case for the Rodecaster video. I thought he may have said, let's get back to talking about Obvio, but instead he's actually messing around with stuff and demoing things.
No, I'm messing around with my camera, with my phone. I was like, I wonder how well this actually works, and it's surprisingly good. And that's the front camera. So anyway,
with a HDMI adapter.
Yeah, I had a USB-C to HDMI adapter sitting on my desk, like a crappy Amazon Basics one, and I mean, it doesn't look horrible.
Nope.
And I'm holding it, right? Like it's not on a mount or anything like that. So, and that's the front camera. You're not likely to be using the front camera. You're probably going to use the back one. I don't know. Probably. So here's the problem with this, right? We all have different opinions. And here's the cool thing. Unfortunately, we're all right. Right? I would say, Melanie, just figure out the thing that is like your minimum viable. Like, what are the things that you absolutely want to be able to do? And if the side-by-side thing is the most important, now it's like, okay, you have a couple of options. I'm kind of with Muddy. I feel like the Rodecaster video is probably the way to go with the side-by-side options. You could get more complicated and be like, well, I can get the ATEM Mini Extreme, and I guess I could put mix effects on an iPad and be able to go back and forth between scenes on the Super Source and achieve the same thing I can with the Rodecaster. And you can, but now you've spent like $1,600 between an iPad and a Rodecaster, or an HM Extreme, and a Rodecaster is going to be cheaper, and you get the built-in mixer, and you get the benefit of USB-C cameras that you can use as well. So I don't know. I mean this. I don't think that there's a wrong answer.
No.
I'll tell you, sitting on my desk right now, I for a number of reasons, I went back to the ATEM Mini Pro and a Rodecaster Duo sitting on my desk. So that's what's here. And I have the Rodecaster video, mostly because I set it up in the podcast studio.
Okay.
That's why.
I was like,
I know you're wondering
what?
Why. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. Well, it's because I set
you've
it up in
been
the
singing
podcast.
its praises.
I think it's
so
I think it's an awesome device. I really, really like it. And it's $1,200, where an ATEM Mini Pro is what, $400 these days? $300?
$295. The
There you
ATEM
go.
Mini Pro is like
So-
$300.
And I feel as though the ATEM Mini Pro is pretty bulletproof, and it does some stuff that the Rodecaster video doesn't do. Not stuff that you're going to use, Melanie. Incidentally, it's not going to do anything that you're going to use, in all likelihood. I do agree with Tamara. I think that the Rodecaster software is young. Like, it's got some interesting bugs that I'm hoping that they will work out. Anyway, I have to take this call.
So in summary,
No, so
In
no,
summary,
I appreciate
maybe,
it. I mean,
yes.
money had me spinning, and then you know, but I'm fine. Like I really am fine, and I'm all good making a decision and moving forward.
Yeah.
And
Do
I
you
do
know what?
appreciate all.
I remember now. I remember now why we were saying about the iPhone.
Okay, because
And
I
this
don't remember.
was,
I'm on so many different
yeah,
calls.
this was when we were specifically talking about you going outside. And it was like, what is the easiest way for you to be able to just do some outside stuff? And we were like, do you know what? Running Zoom on an iPhone and 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 just switching over to that is the easiest way. It meant that you weren't having to tie it back into the main system. You were literally just running Zoom on the phone and having someone, you know, hold it or put it on a stand or something outside. And that's why I remember us getting to that point where it was like, well, you could get a HDMI wireless transmitter and you could do, you know, right? We're talking about all those sorts of things. But I remember coming to that conclusion where it was like you could still use the same wireless microphone that you were using on the main system and then just have the iPhone connected to Zoom.
Yeah, I
showing
understand that
the
part.
view.
I understand that part, but I didn't remember that was how we got to the different iPhone. I do remember that.
That's why we were saying that. So as far as the over the shoulder and top down view, you could make the iPhone work, but a more purpose built product would be a camcorder. And I went to B&H and I looked at camcorders and I found a bunch of little ones, and the only key thing you're looking for is just something that has a HDMI out, and most of them do. So that's what I was looking at. So
I appreciate it.
but
Thank you.
yeah, I think you're getting clean HDMI out. That's a good call, Heinrich. But the I think you're closing in on it, and I don't think that getting the Rodecaster video or an ATEM, I think you'd be happy with either. So
Yeah, and I do want the side by side. I need that for what I do.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and you can create it. You can create that. It probably is slightly easier on the Rodecaster video than it is in the ATEM. Tamara?
I'm just going to tell you that the second you start getting anything, it's going to be out of date. The second it arrives to your house, it will be out of date. And so as someone now, when I started, I had the ability because I had written a script. So I literally took all that money and just bought equipment. I am now 4 years into it. And my goal is to not buy any more equipment, is to like learn the equipment that I have. So what I would suggest to you is do the very bare minimum to get what you need and build from there. And I had an overhead iPhone as overhead when I was teaching, and it worked just fine. Like, do the minimum first instead of outlaying a lot of money to begin with. Learn that minimum and then see what you can do. Because honestly, you could design a side-by-side in Canva and move it into your ATEM. Like, there's ways of doing what you want to do without going the most expensive route. So I would say go to the cheapest amount first and practice and build up, because there's so many different opportunities and there's a lot of free stuff that you can use to do that. And that would be my biggest recommendation to anybody, because I'm sitting here with a ton of equipment that I'm pretty tech savvy, but don't understand the depths and of what it is. So, and now that every time I find out more, I'm like, oh, but I need this other cable and I need this. So start with I would say start with the smallest amount, because you're going to outlay money as you go. This is not a one and done type of deal, because as you get better, you're gonna add more, and better things are going to happen. So I would say, if start now, don't let it stop you, and just get the cheapest that you can to get the highest quality, and because you're going to learn more, and then you're going to grow automatically, and then more opportunities will be there for you, and you're going to know what you want, what your next steps are. That would be my thing to everybody.
Yeah, that's good. Henrik?
Yeah, I mean, Melanie, if you're not a techie, right? I'm literally switching now from a $30 camera to my iPhone, and with no tech, with no hardware switches. Like, seriously, you can do this, right? It's a matter of hitting the video button and going, okay, I'm going to switch from this to that, right? I mean, you see how quick that is. So you don't actually need any of this tech. Is it nice? Yeah, I love my Rodecaster video because it's got video clips, it's got sound, it's got applause, it's got the overlays, it's got the side-by-side thing done. It really, it has it all in there, right? It's like one device, you know, it has two native HDMI for two cameras, plus you can do USB things, plus microphones, but you're going to need Muddy to babysit that whole thing. Yeah, I could do it for you, but I'm not doing it for free. You see what I mean? So,
Oh, I understand. I know where you are.
The whole thing is, like, if you're not a techie, which I am, you've got to pay somebody to go and do it, because it will distract you so badly that you'll actually ruin your whole event.
Yeah, I will not. I will not be doing it myself during the event, but I just want to set up.
Versus like doing what I'm doing right now is literally go, oh, okay, I just switched the camera and, oh, hello, we're over here. See what I mean? And the iPhone does do a really good job. I mean, it has a really good camera, but you stick it on a little stand or something like that, and it will work great. Yeah, I mean, so yeah, Kat Haber, I do tech my own show all the time because it's actually, I love it. I enjoy it. That's part of it. Yeah, I mean, so anyway, that's my 2 cents worth.
There you go.
Again, I appreciate all the tips. Hopefully it'll be useful for other people, because we're all going to have to go through this.
Yeah. It is a whole, it's not just simple, right? When someone just says, okay, go and get this, there's multiple ways, right? And there's different opinions on it, because you ask, it's the same, it's iPhone versus Android, or Mac versus PC, or it's all those sorts of things that you've got religions that are built around these things. And so ATEM versus the videocaster and things like that. So but yeah, I think you're zeroing in on the right thing, so you're getting real close.
I'd like to add one other level to that.
Yeah.
And that is, because Henrik said he texts his own show. Things happen. They happened to us today. A truck ran into the internet tower and we went blank, like boom. And luckily, Muddy was teching our show, and he literally, we were right in the middle of the offer, and he just continued it like nothing ever happened.
Nice
we
work.
went.
I'd like to say most techs won't finish the offer for you. That was a special situation.
That's awesome. Well done. Yeah, and that's right. And there's ways of having contingencies, and planning for that. But it's a good point that the priority is power and internet before anything else, right? Because you don't have anything unless you've got that down. And we take it all for granted until something like that happens. And you know what, now, Amy, you'll be thinking, okay, I need a different system in place so that if that happens again, I'm set, and it'll probably never happen again. Right? But that's what experience is.
We ended up putting up a hotspot to get back into the meeting, but by then it was 5 minutes later and we were gone.
Right.
But we did have a big win. So 14 people signed up for a free event. 9 of them showed up. 6 of them have already signed up to have a call with me.
Amazing.
3 of them have applied for financing.
Yeah. Amazing, Amy. Well done.
That's great.
That's impressive. You need to convert all that to percentages, and it's mind blowing. Right?
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah. That's great.
Here we go.
All right.
Raise hand. There we go.
Hello, Karen. How can we help you?
Oh my goodness. I inputted a bunch of information into Obvio, and then I went to go look for it, and it completely disappeared. So I'm not sure if I need to start over or can it be located?
Yeah, okay.
It's
Good
completely
question,
wiped.
Muddy.
Everything completely is gone.
Yeah.
So
Were you building a dashboard for your event, or are you talking about OB as in
OB,
uh
yeah, is
okay.
an OB. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this occasionally, we answer some OB questions here. This call specifically is about Obvio, and about the building out the events. And so you're in Leap, and so you have access to more calls to get some extra help on that. I don't know if Blue is still, it's whether he's tracking us or not, but so I would probably take that offline specifically to find out what your concern is, because Obvio OB is a product for Leap that just happens to sit within Obvio, but it's not specifically what these calls are about, which is about Obvio and running the events. So
Right. I respect that. That's okay.
yeah. But you can get some extra assistance in several ways, right? Muddy, you would know that, like, even the open office hours on Friday could be an opportunity to work through that with Blue.
Okay. No worries.
Yeah.
That helps.
So sorry you're having trouble though.
It's all good. Thank you.
No problems. All right. So I'm just going to come back because I think we had another couple of questions in here. So we did certificates, and Melanie, and Linda. I just got a Canon 20D to use with my teleprompter. Will that work for my events? 20D. I haven't seen that one, but probably. And is which teleprompter did you get? Just the yeah, that should be fine. Is it the Elgato prompter? Is that the one that you got? Let me see. Yeah, sorry. You wrote in chat already. Wow, you're really on it, Grant. You say Elgato and it's already there in the chat. Yeah, Muddy, the Elgato will fit a full size SLR, right?
Yeah, the Elgato prompter comes with 3 different ways to attach a camera. A little platform where you can attach a phone or a webcam with a shroud. It comes with a molded plate that'll fit the Elgato Facecam Pro webcam. But then the thing you really want is it comes with a ring on the back that has a channel, and it comes with an envelope of all these different they almost attach like a filter on the front of your lens. There's some threaded pieces, and it slots on. I probably have one right over my shoulder, but it screws on the front of your lens to create a ring that the Elgato prompter just slides right into. So the D20 it depends on the lens, but it comes with like 20 different sizes for almost any size lens. So I can confidently say it should work just fine.
There you go. Well done. And then, hey, Martin, asking about the high-level API change. And yes, Muddy, are you using the high-level integration?
I'm using it for a number of events, yeah.
Yeah. And have you noticed a difference now with how that's working?
I don't think
trialing.
it's fully integrated yet. I don't.
Yeah.
My understanding is the new API changes allowed the team to work on a new integration that was pushed out a little early, pulled back, and I don't think the latest, greatest version has been pushed out yet. So I think we're back to where we were.
That's what I was thinking, because stuff was
Yeah,
not
very close.
The math on the time was not mathing from my perspective.
Okay.
And it still feels like it's taking over half an hour to 45 minutes sometimes. So I was just wondering, that was me checking a week and a half ago. So okay, that's good. No, I'll just wait. I'll just keep my other process going.
There was two processes that were happening. One was fixing it. 1 second.
And when Blue talked about it earlier, it sounds like the new API will allow for a much faster refresh.
Yeah,
correct.
He seemed to apply near instantaneous, like HubSpot like Keep and some of the other integrations.
Yeah, so that's what I meant by the two processes. Was one was sort of fixing the existing integration, and that there was some improvements there. And then there's the kind of this next level of a rejigging of how it works to be able to have a faster process. And the comment that we just got back from devs was that they're looking to push that tomorrow. So that update.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. I'll just wait in alert anticipation. Thank you. Are there like release notes for Obvio when these things happen that I'm supposed to be looking? Oh, okay. So this call is the release note. Okay.
Yeah, kind of. That's right. Yeah, no, we have a plan. We've just, our dev team is expanding. And so with that, there's some new processes that we'll be putting in place, and one of those is a change log, and then sort of releases, different release versions and things like that, so that we can make that really clear. So you don't have to come to this call every time to find out if something's changed. And this is all that we're kind of, going backwards into running a services company, because we are primarily event producers running events that happen to have built a product that we use ourselves. And so it's the strength and weakness of Obvio as a company, is that the strength is that the people that run it are running events with it every day. The weakness of it is that because we're running it on events, we're not building out marketing websites and change logs and some of those typical systems are not necessarily in place because we're running events. So that's why it's kind of a double-edged sword a little bit. So yeah,
thank you.
No worries. All right, there are no further questions that have been posted. Is there any other burning questions? Franklin's just woken up because he knows that we're about to call it.
So one quick note I just put in the chat, but I was just looking at the Canon 20D based on the comment, and it appears that it does not have a clean HDMI output. So it will be a problem. It could be a problem to use as a webcam. And what that means is that through that HDMI signal, it's going to show like the focus box and some of the other like settings around the perimeter of the camera. Like if you look on the back of a camera through the LCD screen, you'll see all the settings and things. All of those settings are sent out through the HDMI cable. Many cameras have an option to turn off that on-screen display. Sometimes it'll say OSD, and you can turn that off on the HDMI output. It does not look like the Canon 20D allows you to turn that off. So there are two main criteria that are used to determine if a professional grade camera, like a DSLR or mirrorless camera or camcorder, will work well as a webcam. So clean HDMI output is one. The other is continuous power. So you want it to be able to run not on battery power and have to keep changing the batteries and have it die, but be able to plug it into the wall. And you can use something called a dummy battery, which will fit in the battery compartment, but it's basically just a plastic housing with a cord that plugs into the wall. Some cameras have a limitation that they turn off every 30 minutes. The original Canon M50 had this issue. There is some software that will help you overcome these limitations. And in fact, there was one that I used with the Canon. And oops, I just turned my own camera off. It is called SparkoCam, SPARKO, SparkoCam. There's a software called SparkoCam that'll work, and essentially every 29 minutes, it'll send a signal back to the camera to tell it to turn on again. So it essentially tricks it into thinking it turned off and back on. And it will also allow you to, what you'll have to do is turn autofocus off in order to get the focus box to go away. So there's some things you can do to help work around those limitations, but it looks like that camera came out in 2004. So it's a 21-year-old camera and may not be as good as some other options.
Nice work, Matty. Thank you. All right. Just juggling a couple of things here, but this is the final call for questions. Last drinks, everyone. Oh, Franklin, you have got your hand raised. What have you got?
I feel like every time I get on this call, it's an exciting call for me. And I spend the whole day dealing with kids and all that at school, and I'm really tired. So I thought to myself, I got to get a solution. So I bought these glasses here. They are also a microphone and I got it off TikTok, and I want to try to see if I can link them with the cell phone, and I'll let you know how that comes out.
I'm sure. Yeah, I think the quality of the microphone will be questionable, but it's worth a try. It's worth a try. That's awesome. Nice. It's like Franklin comes on and gives us the benediction for our call. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Thanks for hanging out, learning a few things, and let's do it all again next week. And you can post questions. Remember, you can just hit that link in that email, go back to that email, hit the link, go to the dashboard, post a question anytime throughout the week. And then even if you can't make it next week, it'll be in the recording and you can go through and find the answer to your questions. So, all right. Happy obvioing. See you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Hey, Karen, this is Muddy. I'm gonna ping you in Facebook. I've got 10 minutes now. See if I can give you a hand. Look for a Facebook message here in just a minute.